Childhood trauma typically leads to addiction because you were taught to hide your feelings, because your family or your other abuser wants to hide their behavior. Addiction usually begins with survival. The kid is just trying to survive. They have to figure out some way to survive, and they end up with all this pain. It's inner child pain. Unless you're treating the symptom, you're not getting to the problem, because the addiction is only the symptom. It's a way of reducing the pain. And hiding your feelings helps only the abuser. But as a child, you're not supposed to tell. Don't tell what's going on. Don't talk to anybody about it. Now, that was no problem for me, because everybody I met was a new person and wasn't a relative or family member or friend of the family or anything, because we constantly moved. But for people who live in one place and attend one school, and maybe their brother or sister or mother or dad or somebody, uncle, attended the same school, it's a whole different story. It's so much more important to stay hidden. And there's so many things in families that stay hidden. It's so hard to imagine the cruelty that has been done to a young person, to a child, by others, for whatever reason, whether it was valid or not. The child may not have said or done anything, and they end up being accused of speaking out of turn. My mother drove me nuts with the statement, "A child is to be seen and not heard." I heard that so much. And yet, as a teacher, I never felt that way. I mean, and as an adult, I try so hard on my different programs to give people as much time as possible to say whatever it is they have to say, because it's really difficult to be put in a position where you're held back from telling what you want to tell. As I think back on my life as a child, I don't know how I got through it. I really don't. I suspect that a lot of my problems with my back and my legs and arthritis being rheumatic fever arthritis being as bad as it is, that's on all my joints now. And I think a lot of that had to do with the abuse, the physical abuse, the kicking, beating me, but mostly the kicking, because my father wore these incredibly heavy Arctic boots, made his feet look like a duck. But they had zippers on either side that went all the way up the boot and then was lacing through the center. They were huge, because you're supposed to be able to walk in the Arctic with them and not freeze your feet. There's just a sense of feeling so helpless. The worst situation that I had, as far as being totally shocked, I mean, knocking me down and kicking me when I was older was one thing, but beating me with a metal flyswatter over and over and over again when I was only 7, and it was the first day we'd moved to another place. We moved, when I was 7, we moved 7 times in 9 months. We moved 22 times in 22 months total. My mother was floored when she put the whole thing together, but she'd written all the dates down. And that was part of the sacred fueling team under Curtis LeMay, and he was the protagonist in the movie Dr. Strangelove. So, like some of the things that we're seeing now in leaders of the United States, we saw some strange things with him, and it's hard enough to be an adult and see things from that perspective. But to be a child and walk into a classroom, I walked into one classroom for 2 days, just 2 days. It makes you feel like there's no safe place anywhere in the world. There's no one you could ever call. Of course, we didn't have cell phones back then. But there was nothing you could ever do to make you feel safe. And that's why now it's a real issue for me. There's a monster under my bed and things like that. I've got, thank God, I've got only one window in my room, and it's covered in bars. It's really hard to be feeling so vulnerable, so helpless, so like you have no place to turn, nobody to talk to. And if whatever's been done to you is so horrific that you keep it to yourself, until finally you tell one person, they tell somebody else, oh man, that is such a violation. Because then before you know it, it's everywhere, and you're exposed. Just exposed at a place you don't want to be exposed. When you're so young, you're so young that you just don't have any answers. And especially, at least now, kids have cell phones, but when I was a child, we didn't have any such thing. And there's no place to go. You want to run away, but you don't know what you could run away to. And would you have anything to eat? You don't know anybody. I mean, don't have any friends. It's just a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And so why you're taught to hide your feelings? Because they don't want people to know what's being done to you. That's why. It's so complicated to feel like any minute you'd be exposed. And yet as a child, you are exposed all the time because the beatings continue and the feelings are hurt. And no child should have to carry that. No child at all. If you want to talk to me about this, you can add a comment or meet me at my school. It'll be at the end of the video, if things go right. Thank you.